Another busy month for the world of social business. The government announcing the Productivity Commissioner, Robert Fitzgerald, chairing the advisory board to assist the setting up of the newly announced Australian Charities Commission. Peter, was that a good appointment? What was the reaction?
I think it was. I can think of no one better to take on the role. As you say, he's been the Productivity Commissioner for about 6 or 7 years now, was the key person in the inquiry they did into the not-for-profit sector. He's previously been the president of ACOS, chair of the National Roundtable of Not-for-Profit Organisations. I think a good appointment.
Fantastic. And at the state level in the past month, the Western Australian budget placed a pretty strong focus on the community sector. Premier Colin Barnett seemingly delivering on the commitments that he made, actually, in an interview which you gave
I think
Social
we
Business
had
a
it
couple months
first.
ago.
If you remember, on the interview when he was on the programme, he said how he really wanted to make his mark in the community and not-for-profit sector. And I think in this budget he's really gone out and done it. Essentially, community organisations that deliver services for government are saying that they do not receive sufficient funds. And as a result of that, they pay very low wages, often to their workers. So what the Barnett government did in the budget is put more than $600 million over 5 years to meet the funding gap. It's coming in 2 tranches, 15% increase immediately from July, and then in 2 years' time another 10% increase. And that really will help community organisations to meet the funding gap, to pay their community workers more. The good news is he's also set about $100 million for indexation. In other words, having closed the funding gap, the key is that the community organisations don't fall behind again over time. Very well received, I think.
Fantastic. Now, this month also some big news from Andrew Forrest, who announced he was stepping down as the CEO of the company he founded. The change at Fortescue considered a big win for the philanthropic sector.
I will be pursuing the philanthropic interest, which has chewed up to 50% of my time in the past. That's too much for a chief executive. And I feel very strongly that I couldn't keep on doing that. It's a good thing for FMG that I do that officially now, and it will be a lot more than 50% of my time.
Now, this also came as GenerationOne, which is funded by Mr Forrest, launched a new campaign. It addresses the fact that too few Indigenous Australians are job-ready enough to take up employment. The Australian Employment Covenant's goal to roll out 50,000 Indigenous jobs. Peter, that is quite an immense, task at the moment when you consider some of those findings.
Look, it's a big challenge, and when you talk to Andrew, he realises that. But one of the things is that you've got employers making the commitment to create work for Indigenous employees. The difficulty is getting the level of training and skills that they require to take up the positions. And that's why GenerationOne has launched a new campaign to try and match skills to the jobs that are being offered by employers. Now, the key is here, they did a very interesting poll, Auspoll, for GenerationOne. What it showed is that 2/3 of employers would be happy to employ an Indigenous person if one was available. But 2/3 of Indigenous people who were polled said that they didn't have the skills or the qualifications at this stage to take up employment. So the aim of this new campaign is to try and persuade government to bring those two together, to bring together the job that's being offered by employers with the skills and the training that you need in order to undertake it.
Now, also in the international front this month, the UK government's issued a white paper on giving. The proposal's basically aimed at transforming the giving culture in the UK. One of the more notable features, Peter, the government committing many millions, in fact, to encourage volunteering and social action, but quite a few other interesting ideas within that paper too.
Well, they are. I mean, the whole purpose of this white paper is to make giving easier. So the government itself has put about 180 million Australian dollars into this. But the interesting ideas is, how do you make giving easier? So they're clearly going to go out and to promote giving through ATMs and make it easier, so that when you go to an AEM, there'll be a box on the screen which says, do you want to give? Yeah. They're going to make it easier to do through mobile phones and through Blackberries. They've also got this interesting idea called round the pound. You know, when you go in and you pay £4.99 or $4.99 for something. So you're giving people the option, if they want, to give the extra pence into charity. Now, it may not sound much, but there's an organisation been doing this in the UK called Penny's Foundation. Only been doing it since November last year. Works with retailers like Domino's Pizza. They've already had 420,000 people make donations through this round the pound. £100,000 raised already. And the government's thinking, well, we could do this. My colleague at CSI, Cheryl Curnow, says we need a collar the dollar to match it.